Welcome to China AMEC, your insight to the Australian visa system. G'day everyone, my name is Carl Young, your online YouTube visa consultant. Are you interested about migrate to Australia? Why don't you consider to subscribe to my channel and turn on the little bell on site, so once we have all the updates and news, you'll be the first one of getting all the insights. Now in this video, I would like to share with you what the state of New South Wales had officially announced their updated occupation list, whereby they have adding more occupations into the subclass 491. And obviously there's so many different areas in New South Wales, so in this video you need to take a little bit of patience as we are going to go through every single one of them all through this video. So let's jump into the actual New South Wales migration web page and website, should I say. So it's quite easy to actually find this web page. All you need to do is go to Google and just type in New South Wales skill occupation list. You should land yourself in this web page. Now the first thing is they are talking about subclass 190, which is one of the hot topic and hot picked visa category. However, as you can see, this last updated was back in 1st of February, so there's no update in a sense. Well, what we are going to focus on is at the subclass 491. Now today's date is the 1st of April 2021, so this news is hot, so you wanted to stay here and let's take a look. So obviously we're going to go through all these different regions. How many of them? 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 13 of them, and the last one is Sydney. So if you're in the CBD area of Sydney, New South Wales, let's watch out. So let's go to the first one, Central Coast. So what they have here is the engineering manager, production manager, nursing clinical director, cafe restaurant manager. So it looks like they are looking to actually get more pump into the hospitality industry here. Mechanical engineer, early childhood teacher, retail pharmacist, occupational therapist, physio, nursing manager, nurse practitioners, and 4 different category of nurses. They are in the category of surgical, medical practice, medical and aged care, and some of the IT developer, programmer, software engineer. Actually, just 2, and psychologist, social wear and fair wear worker, automotive electrician. Now this is interesting because I've been talking about this occupation for last year. Now it looks like what it's gonna do, we are gonna turn our car from originally running on petrol into electric car in the future. So motor mechanic is still there. However, I think there will be an increased number of electricians for automotive. Diesel, motor mechanic, welder, fitters, carpenter, joiner, plumber, electricians, baker, chef, and cook. Again, hospitality is gonna be back because the tourism industry is in a big problem here, so they're looking to actually get it solved. Cabinet maker, speech pathologist. Now Central West, let's move on. There's not much of differences here. Instead of, they had ICT project manager, they had hotel motel manager, they got accountants. Wow, interesting. We haven't seen an accountant and auditor for long time. So if you're an accountant or auditor currently working and resides in Central West, that's the place you want to be. Chemical, material, electrical, industrial engineer, mining, agricultural scientists, vets, ICT business analysis. Wow, they are expanding. They get more ICT people required there. Diesel, sheet metal trade worker, metal fabricator, welder, fitter, bricklayer. They got bricklayer, stonemason, so they got a lot more. Wall and floor tiler, that's very good. Baker, pastry cook, chef, engineer, technologist. So in comparison, Central and Central West Central Coast and Central West. The Central West has a lot more variety of occupation there. And bear in mind, it's just not New South Wales. I think all the other states, for example, the Victoria, Queensland, and all the other states will actually catch up with more and more occupation to be released. So far south coast. So research development manager, production manager, they got cafe restaurant, they got hotel motel manager, accountant there, and they even got an internal auditor. So it's getting more exciting. More of these down here got more occupation here. So architects, landscape architect, chemical materials, civil, structural, transport, electrical, industrial, mechanical. They got all the engineering there. In fact, most of them are all in there. Aeronautical engineer, agriculture engineer, biomedical. So they got everything. So what areas is this far south coast? Okay, far south coast. And they got chemists, food technologists, zoologists, vets, and retail pharmacists, OT, physio, pathologist, midwife, nurse practitioner. They got lot more registered nurse category in here, far south coast. And they got more IT variety here, social worker, welfare worker, automotive electrician again. Okay, motor mechanic, diesel motor mechanic, motorbike, motorcycle mechanic, and the metal fabricator, fitter, panel beater, bricklayer. So they got more and more down here. Wall tailor, floor tailor, plumber, baker, pastry cook, chef and cook. Butcher is also there. I haven't done any butcher before. Anyhow, let's move down to far west. See if they get lot more. They got HR manager, engineering manager, childcare center manager, ICT, hotel, cafe, restaurant, architect, civil engineer, QS, quantity surveyor. Okay, which areas is far west? Okay, far west. So that's inland. Okay, and vets, mining. More teachers. They got more teachers there. Secondary and special need teacher. Podiatrist, physio, OT is always there. Medical practitioners and nurses. All the nurses are in here. System analysis, system admin. Wow, we got system admin, a network administrator, and then coming down with the motor mechanic, fitters, metal machinist, carpenter, joiner, carpenter, chef, and cook, and enrolled nurse. Now, interesting, enrolled nurse is one level down from registered nurse. So if you're just an enrolled nurse, all you're required to do, I think that you're required to have experience and also a graduate of a diploma of nursing. Now, moving into hunter, that's where a lot of wine and things there. Accountant, civil engineer, and then lab scientist, medical practitioner. Less registered nurse required there. There are some IT people required to be there, and not much of engineer I can see here. So it's a very short list from hunter area. Chef and cook, so that's more for a hospitality industry, and program and project administrator. And they got horse trainer. I'm not too sure. I haven't done a horse trainer before too. Now in Illawarra, let's go. Engineer manager, civil engineer, electrical, mechanical, bit more than hunter, and they got all the nurses required and they need it. And then that's it. They got air conditioning, refrigerating, mechanic. I'm not too sure whether that area is hot enough to actually have a lot of requirement for air conditioning. And pastry work, chef and cook. Okay, mid north coast. Cafe, restaurant manager, hotel. So as you can see, hospitality is big now. As we coming into a post-pandemic era, Australia as a nation, obviously state of New South Wales, looking to get their tourists back on track. So they're needing all these restaurant, cafe, hotel, chef and cook, all these type of occupations there. Engineer, bit less. They got graphic designer, where the other regions doesn't have. Optometrist, interesting. They need optometrists there. Nursing practitioners, and most of the nurses are there. Okay, medical lab, engineer drafts person, automotive electrician. Again, we'll see this type of job and occupation more and more in the coming year. Fitters, metal fabricator, locksmith, trainer, wow, baker, pastry cook, butcher, chef, florist. Interesting. A lack of florist. I'm not too sure how you get a qualification for florist. That's the first thing I ever seen. Now, cabinet maker and footballer. Now, Northern Inland, let's go. Childcare center manager, cafe restaurant manager, hotel motel manager, accountant, external auditor, civil engineer, geotechnical engineer, electrical engineer, mechanical engineer, agricultural scientist, early childhood teacher, secondary school teacher, special need teacher, and all the way to all the physio, OT, medical practitioner, midwife, nurse. Most of the nurse are in there. Okay, so nurse is still in demand, as you can see, after we had the strike of the virus for 2020 and recently in Brisbane. I think the occupation of nurse is very, very in need, in demand. Okay, web developer, programmer, welfare worker, civil engineer technician, electrical engineer technician, automotive electrician. Again, it shows up again. Metal fabricator, welder, fitters, panel beater, carpenter, plumber, air conditioning, baker, chef, cook, hairdresser, and cabinet maker. Now moving into Northern River. Again, cafe, restaurant, and hotel managers here. Still management consultants, so they don't want accountant, but they want management consultants, graphic designer, industrial engineer, production and plant engineer, naval architects. Where's this one? Northern River. Okay, they need some naval stuff here. Optometrist, physio, nursing, nurse, all there. Medical lab, civil engineer technician, electrical engineering technician, automotive electrician showing up again, and all the other mechanics in automotive, baker, pastry cook, and chef, butchers, footballer, Orana, regional Orana, construction project manager, childcare center manager, health and welfare service manager, cafe, restaurant, hotel, motel manager, accountant, accountant, taxation, accounting, external, internal, they need all the accounting occupations. Now, very interesting. Okay, economist, architect, civil engineer, geotechnical engineer, QS, transport engineer, electrical, mechanical, production, plant engineer, mining engineer, engineering professional, medical lab scientist, vets, early childhood teacher, secondary teacher. We haven't seen any of the primary teacher there, so it's either early or they jump out into secondary. Anyhow, let's move on. Sonographer, OT, optometrist, retail pharmacist, chiropractor. Now that's an interesting one. Physio, and again all the nurses, I think. All the nurses there, ICT, software. So in the category of ICT, obviously programmer is more favored than all other type of ICT. Programmer actually including crypto people there. Moving on, let's have a look. Psychologist, social welfare worker, automotive electrician again showing up, bricklayer, panel beaters, joiner, glazier. They got a lot. Gas fitter, roof, plumber, electrician, the general electrician. So that's a hard one because you're required to have 4 years if you know about the registration to become a licensed electrician. You're required to have 4 years of internship there. So generally these type of people will have come from New Zealand, Canada, or UK, where they can transfer their work experiences equivalent to regulation or law in Australia and then get their license here. Anyhow, that's another topic. So chef and cook, cabinet maker, enrolled nurse, community worker, and let's moving into Riverina. Okay, again, the top few hospitality is all in there. So cook and chef, cafe restaurant managers all in there, accountant, marketing specialist, engineers. Okay, And then there's no secondary teacher, there's only early childhood teacher there. And moving into all the nurses, still all there. So ICT business analysis, networking, computer network engineer, and then mechanic. They don't need automatic electrician. Interesting. They'll still going into the old diesel motors here, and the carpenters, wall and floor tiler, plumber, electricians, baker, pastry cook, chef, and cook. So again, hospitality is hot in this round of the occupation. Now moving to the southern inland, include Murray. Okay, so construction project manager, engineer manager, production manager, childcare center manager, nursing clinical director, health and welfare service manager, ICT project manager, quantity assurance manager, cafe, restaurant, hotel, motel, architect, and all the engineer. Not all, I mean civil, material, and chemical, and geotechnical. I think that covers all the engineer. Which one am I missing? So civil is there, structural is there, industrial engineer, that's all engineer there, and the agricultural consultant, agricultural scientist, botanist, and the early childhood, secondary special needs teachers in there, and then the optometrist, retail pharmacist, OT, and physio, podiatrist, and basically what I'm looking here is they cover everything here in this area, and all the ICTs, vast number of ICT professions here, and then all the draftsperson for architects and civil engineer, and electrical and electronic, and automotive electricians. So which areas? This is no, this is a southern inland. So southern inland. Okay, so it's near Sydney. So they got every single stuff. So they got cook and bake, bakers and all that, enrolled nurse. Now finally we move into Sydney. Let's have a look. Now obviously it's a shorter list, however it does provide some hints as well. So if you're in Sydney CBD, you can still access to 491. You don't get permanent residency straight away, but you do require to have you will get 5 years of 491, and after 3 years of employment of salary above 53,900, you'll be able to transfer into 191 permanent residency. So you either an environmental manager, cafe restaurant manager, that's big, and civil engineer, geotechnical engineer, structural engineer, electrical engineer, mechanical engineer, registered nurse. They only got two type of nurses, those HK or general nurses, social welfare worker, sheet metal trade worker, bricklayer, carpenter, joiner, wall, floor tiler, and plumber. So that is the end of today's updated New South Wales state's occupation for subclass 491. It's actually interesting. So in summary, looks like the post-pandemic era is we were looking at the end of the pandemic. So all the vaccination, although they're still lacking getting everybody vaccinated, however, the immigration of New South Wales is taking the first step ahead of all the other states by inserting and adding more occupation there. So it looks like a competition is coming back between the states. So the most preferred state back before April 2021 was South Australia, where they have most of the occupations. Now I think New South Wales is getting very, very close and very, very competitive. They actually include, I can think of most of the occupation in there. So whether or not you're still in those regions and you're in those occupations, why don't you access to 491 subclass in order to actually migrate in Australia? Should you have more comments, and how do you think about this new updated occupation list for New South Wales? Leave your comment right down below, and I see you next video. Goodbye.